Welcome to another episode of Traders Talk Podcast, everyone, where we sit down with some of the best traders in the industry so we can get to know their story and get to know their struggle. Today, I have a really special guest, and I know I say that all the time, but 100% this person does not need an introduction. I'm sure you guys know who this is if you've been around the trading space in YouTube. That's NickShawnFX. He's been around for a while. I've been following Nick for a long time on YouTube, so thank you for coming on, Nick, today. How's your Monday going?
It's going great, man. Pretty eventful as always.
Yeah, awesome. So I think majority of the people probably know who you are. So this would be a great time to kind of, maybe ask you some questions about your story, kind of how you got into trading, things like that. So one of the first questions, Nick, I always ask is like, what was life like for Nick before you found out about trading? Like, did you have aspirations? Like, were you going to school? Did you have plans for doing something else at that time?
Yeah, I was going to school at UT Arlington here in Texas. I wanted to become a police officer, so I wanted to do law enforcement. I just thought it would be fun. I wasn't too concerned about money when I was younger. And so, yeah, I was at UT Arlington here in Texas, and I was going to become a police officer. And 2 classes to my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, I dropped out of college. I was also all the way through the full application process for Dallas Police Department here in Texas,
Okay.
and I withdrew my police application. And I literally just sacrificed everything to just give trading a try. But yeah, that's what I was doing before trading, man. I'd wanted to become a police officer.
Wow. So, I mean, during that time when you were applying for and you were studying, how did you come across trading at that time?
A lot of people know the company iMarkets Live, IML. They might be
Yes.
called something different now, but I
Yes.
think it's pretty much
Yep.
IML, the MLM multi-level marketing company
Yep.
that's Forex oriented. I came across that. Some of my friends in college were doing that, and so I got interested in it. I quickly realized not many people were interested in actually trading. It was mainly just the marketing side, which is okay. I
Yes.
just want to learn how to
100%.
trade. So after about a month in that, I just abandoned all of that and I just focused on learning how to trade. So I got 2 jobs, worked fuller time. How would you call that? Fuller time. I worked like 80 hours a week.
Overtime? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like 80 hours a week, not counting like driving to and from jobs. And all my free time, I just spent
Wow.
either sleeping or learning to trade Forex. Took me about 2 years, but we're finally here. And
So
I'm
that
really
was
glad.
quick. Like you figured out I need to get like people usually stick around. It's called IM Academy now, I think, unless they change the name again. But I've had a couple other people guests on the show, and they're like, it took me 8 months to realize there was no point of sticking around, or like 3. You did it pretty quick. So you left, and you realized like trading can actually become a career, or it can actually make you good money. So you kind of just left them and just started learning at that point, correct?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping for. And again, there's nothing wrong with the group I was in, and I am Academy in general. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
them at all. It's just the particular clique of people that I was involved in weren't that interested in learning how to trade. So I decided to
Right.
go and find people that were actually interested in learning how to trade. So I just watched YouTube videos. I was on forums, things like that. Just kind of learned.
So, and then so the next question following that was typically like, what was your learning journey like? Like, where did you buy a course in the start? Did you kind of stick to YouTube, or was it kind of like all little bits of yourself learning throughout the process?
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 courses. One of them might have been a subscription thing. But I bought 2 courses. Most of my learning pretty much came from YouTube though, just YouTube and Google, learning from forums and stuff like that. A lot of
Okay.
it came from retrospectively looking back. A lot of it came from just trial and error, honestly, just testing, getting experience, learning what works and what doesn't, and then just simply doing more of what works and less of what doesn't.
Okay, cool. So majority of it was yourself. So now that also leads to the next question is from when you kind of first started trading to when you probably had your first quarter, your first profitable quarter. How long was that time period? Because for some people it can be 2 years, some people it can be longer. And it just depends person to person. Do you think you had a time frame when you were like, okay, I think I got this kind of figured out?
It was probably mid 2017, which was about a year and a half into my trading journey. What I typically
Okay,
do just to be safe is tell people it was about 2 years because it wasn't till like
two
the
years.
beginning of 2018 where I was making like significant amounts of money that was replacing my income from my other 2 jobs.
Right.
I had 3 at one point. It was crazy. I was doing
Wow.
patrol, I was doing security for a church, and I was also doing loss prevention at Target. And
Wow. Damn.
I don't know how I did it, but anyway, so it was when I got profitable, when I had my first profitable quarter, which was around summer of 2017, I guess you'd call it Q3. I was
Hmm.
profitable, but I wasn't making a ton of money. I was making like maybe
Right.
like 1, 2, 3K a month. So it wasn't like It wasn't like it was life changing amounts of money for me. The money that was life changing was averaging like 3, 4, 5K a month, which didn't start happening till
Right.
like 2018, the beginning. So about 2 years.
Okay, cool. So, and that's a question I get sometimes from other traders. Like, okay, if I work a full-time job, what do I do? So if you were working, more than one job, would you just kind of like look at the charts before you go into work, set your, like, how would you manage that?
Yeah, a lot of my work was I could be on my phone like
Oh, okay.
throughout the day. So I was able to watch charts. I was able to do higher time frames and lower time frames. Maybe not like day trading the 10-second chart,
Yeah.
but certainly being able to glance at the hourly chart, 4 hourly chart, like pretty regularly, even like 5 minute charts. I did everything. My main system was like a scalping system at that time, which was like based on RSI divergence. I did that like for
Okay.
like a year. Then once I started building up my capital, I needed something that controlled risk a little bit more because everything back then
Right.
was essentially just like account flips. And so it was like small accounts, really high risk, blow a couple of accounts, grow a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I wanted something more sustainable. So I transitioned into price action, support and resistance about a year after I was profitable. But yeah, it was all that, man.
Okay, awesome, cool. So fairly quickly you did that. Now, what's your? I mean, I know your trading style, but do you want to just explain to people what kind of, like, is it support and resistance or mainly price action? Do you use any indicator at all at this point or no?
No indicators at all.
Awesome, cool. So it's just mainly price action. Cool. Yeah.
Like I can elaborate a little bit. Yeah. So it's mainly just all I use is support and resistance and a price action. It's essentially waiting for price to get to major zones, seeing what price does when it gets to that zone to determine what the potential outcomes will be, whether it might be breaking through or whether it might be bouncing away from the zone, trying to profit off of whichever outcome looks like likely based on the price
Okay.
action there. And my scalping is essentially just only price action. I don't even use support and resistance whenever I'm doing scalping. It's all momentum based on the 1 minute chart since
Right.
like the trends change all the time on the 1 minute charts. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. So there's different variations and nuances within the systems, but it's mainly it all boils back to simple support and resistance for most of my trading.
Right. Yeah. I've watched a lot of your videos. And I know some people that have been in your program. They have nothing but great things to say about you in the program. Um, One question that I do like to typically ask is like, that period when you were working those three jobs, and I'm sure there was a period you weren't just profitable right off the bat. There must have been 6 to 8 months of like, okay, I'm losing money, and you're losing capital. What kind of kept you going through that period? Like, because sometimes it can be very emotionally and financially draining during that period for a lot of people. You're just losing money, and it just gets frustrating. Like, what made you kind of push forward through that time, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so I had a lot of persistence. I think that's just really what it comes down to. Some of us as humans are born with just having more like persistence than others. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to be a police officer. I didn't want to keep working my jobs that I had at the time. I didn't want any type of corporate job or like a high paying salaried executive job. I just wanted to trade. And so for that, like for me, it wasn't really that hard of a decision. It was just like, I don't really care how long it takes. It could take me a month, a year,
Right.
10 years. As long as I get there eventually, I'll probably be fine. So that's just the simple answers that I just had the drive and motivation. I think another thing that kind of was derived from that drive and motivation was knowing that I had literal friends at that time who were like younger than me, who were trading profitably and making stupid amounts of money, and asking myself like, if they're able to do it, like chances are they're not any smarter than I am, and if
Right.
they can do it, I could probably do it too. And since I had seen so many people around me in the groups that I was in at the time able to do it consistently, that I guess gave me a little bit of extra, like couple ounces of motivation to be like, oh, well, they can do it. And like, if as long, unless I'm stupider than them, like I should probably be able to do it too. So that's what kept me going. I think just the intrinsic motivation and also seeing the other people around me able to do it.
With that being said, you are actually one of the motivations I did use earlier on, because I saw a lot of people that were kind of doing lifestyle marketing. And I came to know later on, once I started YouTube and Instagram, the majority of these people were actually fake. They can't, like, I don't think they're actually making what they're showing. But you're one of the most humble traders on YouTube that I saw you and a few other people. I'm like, these people seem pretty legit. If they're doing it, like, there has to be a way that I can figure this out. So I always use that as motivation. If there's somebody else that can do it, you can do it 100%. What's one mistake? I'm sure you get this question a lot. But like, what is one mistake that you think beginners or break even traders are making constantly that they should try fixing right away? Because I was break even for a while until I got like my risk management and psychology together. But is there like one piece of advice you would give to somebody that's kind of struggling right now to level up?
Yeah, so I'll define it. The thing I think that a lot of there's obviously a ton of things people could probably be doing like better,
Yeah.
but I think one thing that's good to focus on is recognizing when you're making things too complicated. Like trading is you're looking at a chart and you're asking yourself, do I think it's going to go up or down? That's all it is. And so you can do that through a really complicated system. You can learn all these strategies, you can learn all this technical and fundamental analysis. You can learn like all this complicated stuff to get the same result as if you were to just do
Right.
things very simply and have a very simple approach. Like you're literally just trying to decide whether you think the price is going to go up or down, and you're trying to profit from the movement. And so I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make is overcomplicating it. And I think my advice for people to get around that is by focus on a simple set of trading rules, something that you can
Mhm.
like kind of define roughly, and then get experience practicing those trading rules, whether through back testing or through forward testing on a demo account, and build up your experience. Because what'll start to happen is if you can follow the same set of simple rules over and over, you have something consistent you can rely on. So instead of getting distracted watching everyone on YouTube and all these different trading styles and different approaches and different stuff, your brain is flooded with all this content and you forget what really matters, which is focusing on your own trading approach. You're focusing on what works for you, getting data, testing it, optimizing it, experimenting, figuring out what works for you and your psychology and your time constraints, your capital.
Yeah.
All those things come into play. You only get that by focusing on yourself. So I'd say, if I were to just say it simply in two ways, is like don't overcomplicate things, keep things simple. And number two, focus on what you're doing, focus on your own
Right.
trading approach. It's okay to learn things from other people, but you should not try to duplicate anyone's system exactly, because you'll never be able to do it. Everyone's subjective,
Right.
everyone has their own thoughts and opinions. So focus on yourself and keep things simple.
Yeah, that I agree with you 100%. Almost close to impossible to duplicate what maybe you're doing or somebody else is doing, but you can at least learn from them. And then you have to kind of put your own twist to it. And that's typically how you become this. Like, it's okay to learn from somebody, but then you have to kind of put your own twist to it. So, like, I learned the structure of a strategy from somebody, and then I kind of made it my own. And I just did a bunch of trial and error until it started working. So the next thing I wanted to ask was if people want to learn from you, I believe you have a program called like it's like the scalping 10x or so. Do you want to just explain how people can learn from you and what that program is?
Yeah, we actually have two programs right now. We have one kind of for people who are just wanting like a simple strategy and then wanting one personal coaching session from me. It's the MissionFX compounding course. I don't know when you guys will be watching this. It could be a year from now or 5 years from now, but at the moment we're making this video. That's what one of our offerings is, the MissionFX compounding course. And you can learn all information about this on my YouTube channel. Just go Nick Shawn, find some of my scalping compounding videos. You'll find the link in the description on one of those. And our flagship program, which is our most popular, is called the MissionFX Full Program. It's a program that I started. It started off as just a Facebook group chat back in like mid
Mm.
2018, and we slowly grew the community over time. We got things structured into a proper course. I ended up hiring a bunch of students internally from our client pool who are profitable to help with things like marketing, content creation, coaching, client support, things like that. So I've hired a bunch of people who are now my employees who we help provide a fully comprehensive experience for new people coming in to learn how to trade. So it's a program called the MissionFX Full Program. It includes essentially an online course. It's structured like one video at a time, once per day. It has a coaching experience, meaning like our coaches will work with people one-on-one, and our clients are able to book as many unlimited one-on-one calls as they like, and one of our coaches will jump on the call. So if someone needs 50 one-on-one sessions, people get access to
Wow.
it with MissionFX, and it's just one price. There's no monthly subscription. There's also live Q&A sessions almost 7 days a week. We have a fully moderated, comprehensive Discord community. So to join, people have to complete action items, like they have to complete the course. They have to prove that they've actually created a trading system they're testing, send their trading journal to my team to prove they're actually like applying the material in the
Right.
program, collecting data, 2-month mandatory demo practice period. I mean, we have this big community and we have
Wow,
all
that's
these
amazing.
things that we offer. And that's our flagship program, the MissionFX Full Program. And it's people can find more details about it at missionfx.us. That's where our website is. That'll link people into the free training and stuff like that. But so those are our two programs, and I'm really proud to say that I own both of them.
Amazing. Wow. That looks like that's a lot. So, and I actually know one or two people that I don't know if they took that program, but they said it was like they had really great things to say about it. So I will, once Nick gives me the links, I will leave them in the description below if you guys want to get in touch with him on Instagram directly, or if you want to just go onto his website and check that out. I've heard amazing things about it, and Nick just kind of explained it. It comes with like, that's a lot. That's a lot. So moving on from that, before we just kind of end this podcast, is like, do you have a daily routine that you go by, or is it just kind of you kind of just like, do you have certain trading hours you like follow, or you kind of just freestyle throughout the day whenever your alerts go off type thing?
I think it's a hybrid, kind of somewhere in the middle, and I think
Mhm.
sometimes it depends on the day. Um, I think I'd say I have a loose structure. So my loose structure is wake up in the morning, make coffee, have coffee with Bonnie, my girlfriend. So having coffee with her, it's like our first hour of the day together, and we don't do anything. We're not on our phones. I'm not on charts or anything. We just spend about an hour sitting on the couch together, waking up together. And that's a nice,
Cool.
peaceful way to start every single day. So it really sets the tone for a good rest of the day every day. I normally get to charts around 6 a.m. So 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, where I'm at here in Texas in the United States.
Mhm.
And I'll look at charts, I'll do my pre-market analysis. I'll chat with clients in our Discord. We're looking at setups, everything that happened during London session, and that's kind of my workflow. So then I'll do, if there's any swing setups or any long-term setups, I'll use that time to manage those trades during New York session. That's also when all my scalping occurs. I'm usually done with looking at charts by around noon every day. So it's roughly 5 to 6 hours worth of trading time that I spend like doing most of my stuff in the morning. That's a combination of
Mhm.
trading and doing back end stuff with MissionFX and our clients, one-on-one calls, Q&A sessions, coaching calls, things like that. I'm usually done by 12. After that, I'll go and work out. So I work out almost every day of the week, like five,
Cool.
6 days of the week. And then I'll come back, I'll have some lunch. And the rest of the day kind of transitions however I want it to. Sometimes I'll go out on a walk with my dog. Sometimes I'll meet Bonnie somewhere for lunch. If she's got a break between clients, we can meet somewhere. So yeah, I think it's mainly more structured for like the first 6, 7 hours of the
Got
day.
it.
And then after that, I do what I want. But yeah, that's kind of how it is.
Cool, awesome, and then so you've got a pretty decent routine there, but that's because you have the ability, and you know, like I trade full time as well, so that my day's kind of like that as well. Do you kind of let's say you have a losing streak, which you know obviously happens sometimes a quarter, sometimes a year. That happens all the time for me at least. Do you do anything during that week? Do you stop trading for the day if it's like a couple of losses for the day or the week? Do you have anything in place to kind of like if the losing streak starts happening, do you do anything or do you just continue with the routine for the week?
Yeah. So my simple answer is no, I don't really do anything differently. I don't know
Okay.
if that's the best thing for other people, because some people losing streaks, like say losing 2 or 3 trades in a row,
Right.
um, that can like do something to your brain to where it kind of makes you, it influences your decisions in a negative way
Yeah.
for future trades. So for some people, I think it might be a better idea to like stop trading for the day or for the week, or I don't know. For me, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like I've been doing this for like 6 years. So when I take a losing trade or a set of losing trades, it doesn't really impact my decisions in a negative way. Like every future trade, it's based on its own merit, it's based on its own reasons and criteria,
Mhm.
and it's all the same stuff just over and over. So for instance, like I had like a 2 week winning streak like the past 2 weeks, and then on Thursday and Friday, like 2 week winning streak, meaning every day was a winning day in trading overall, like net P&L. I had some losses, but net P&L with scalping and everything was like winning day
Mhm.
every day for 2 weeks. And then Thursday and Friday of last week, today's Monday, Thursday and Friday of last week were both losing days. But like,
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I think about them at the end of the day. It's not like I worry about them the day
Right.
after. I mean, for me, I just don't really do anything differently. And I think that's just because I've gotten to a point in my psychology where like whether I leave the day, the trading day, winning or losing just doesn't matter. Just because I know
Doesn't
overall it'll
matter.
be profitable. So I shouldn't get too hung up on what could I have done differently, this and that. It's like sometimes there's nothing you should have done differently. You followed all your
Yeah.
rules, you did everything the way you should have, and it just came out to be a losing day, and that's trading. That's what happens. So no, I don't really do anything differently on my losing days.
Yeah, I think that comes over time. I'm starting to get to the point where it doesn't affect me as much as like a year ago or 2 years ago when I would just be like freaking out and psychology is going all over the place. I think you've been in this for long enough that you know your strategy so well in and out that it doesn't matter that if you take a few losses. One other question I wanted to ask you before we wrap it up, and I haven't asked anybody this question, so you just be honest with me about this. What do you think about intuition in trading? Like, I feel like sometimes the really good traders, at least for myself, I feel like my trading has improved by just like, sometimes my intuition is just starting to get better. It's almost like you've seen it so many times that you kind of already know that this is a good trade. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think intuition plays any role in your trading?
Yes, and I'll try to break this down in as simple a way I can in as few words as I can because it can get complicated really quickly. What I'm convinced of is intuition is a subset of behaviors and experiences and thoughts that will come as a result of applied experience. And so, whenever I say applied experience, you experiencing the same thing over and over, you seeing the same thing happen over and over, it generates in your brain this subconscious awareness of it. And it's not woo woo. This is all this scientific that you can have a
Yeah.
subconscious awareness of something, even if you're not actively, quote unquote, consciously aware of it. So it'll be like when price is at a certain level on the chart and it started to reject, but then it's going sideways. But then for some reason you get that weird feeling, that weird sent like waves of emotions well up inside you that tell you, hey, Usman, it may be better if you stay out of this trade. But technically your trading criteria says no, the technicality shows that I should enter right now, it fits all my trading rules. But meanwhile your intuition is screaming at you, no, don't do it. The reason I think that happens is because even though you may not be able to articulate it or communicate it to other people why you don't want to take the trade, your intuition has enough applied experience enough to tell you to the point that, like, hey, you've seen this happen over and over, and most of the time when you enter trades like this, even if you can't explain why, you've just seen it happen so often that it would probably be better just to sit this one out on the sidelines. And then on the ones where you're convinced they're more likely to win, like you're like, everything's 100% technically, my emotions are flat, I'm really convinced this trade's going to win, my intuition is like nothing's off kilter at all. Those might be ones that you kind of scale in a little bit more and kind of add size to because you're more certain that the likelihood of it playing out is going to be correct. And so with those, to answer your question, yes, I believe intuition plays a big role. It's a very dynamic, nuanced, and slightly complicated mechanism of trading,
Yeah.
but I believe that people can simply develop it by just getting more experience on charts and then start using that intuition in your trading. And I'm convinced that it really helps a lot of people. It can help keep you out of a lot of bad trades, and it can also help you make more money on your winning trades.
Wow, you absolutely destroyed that answer. That's exact like that was a 10 out of 10 answer because that's exactly what I think about intuition. And this is, you're probably one of the first people I've asked, and that was basically spot on. With that being said, thank you so much, Nick, for coming on the podcast today. Don't want to take too much of your time. I'm going to leave all your links in the description below. So guys, if you want to get in touch with Nick or if you want to join his program, the links will be in the description below.